Good evening, Drew.
Hey, there he is.
There I am.
There he is.
Oh,
I see you have a late addition to the
yeah.
dock here.
Uh-huh.
So I sort of want to move that up to the top.
Yeah, okay.
But before we get started, so we're recording on a Saturday because you said that Zach had something Thursday.
Yes, he marched in a parade at the Circleville Pumpkin Show.
You know, I told my lady friend that we're recording on a Saturday because he was going to some festival, and she's like, "Is it the Circleville Pumpkin Festival?" And I couldn't remember.
It was, yes, yeah, the Pumpkin Show.
Now, didn't he march in that last year as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they march in it every year.
Yeah. Anything new and exciting going on down there?
Pumpkins.
Did you get I guess what I'm asking is, did you get a funnel cake?
I did. We got some funnel cake. Yeah, it was good. We ate poorly and and watched the parade and then left. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like what you would do at a place like that.
Yeah.
Cool, buddy. Everything went good then, I guess.
Yeah, everything's good.
Yeah. Before we dive into all the dumb shit that I have to talk about, how's your iPhone 14?
It's a long story, and I'll tell you the story, Drew. Okay, so geez, when it's hard to remember the time for all of this stuff. Okay, so after we recorded last week, I got notifications from Apple that both mine and my wife's iPhone were shipping. And they were supposed to arrive. Mine was supposed to arrive on Monday, and hers was supposed to arrive on Tuesday. Hers showed up. On Tuesday. On Monday, I'm excited. I'm watching the status. I watch it go from hey, it's out for delivery. And then, usually the UPS guy comes around between 3 and 4. Didn't get a delivery. 7 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, I'm not getting my iPhone today, am I? And sure enough, the status went backwards. It went from out for delivery to on its way. So, I'm just like, okay, well, maybe, I don't know, who knows? Maybe the UPS truck got a flat. Who knows? Whatever. So I didn't think too much of it. The next day came, my wife's phone showed up. Mine did not. I waited until Wednesday. And the phone was still nowhere to be found. The UPS status hadn't changed or anything. So I started looking around hey, what do I do? And UPS is like, hey, if you think your package is lost, file a claim. That will open an investigation. Someone will look for your package and the status will be updated. I'm like, great. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
So I filed a claim, and then 2 hours later, the claim was canceled. Investigation was canceled. So I tried calling UPS's number, and UPS, if you're listening, and I know you are, you fucking suck.
They really go out of their way to not let you talk to a human.
Yeah, they did. I basically, once I put in my tracking number, they were like, hey, there's an investigation. The reps won't know anything. Fuck you. Have a great day. And would not literally, I could not figure out how to get to talk to a person. So, well, they have email support. So I sent an email. I'm like, hey, the tracking number says an investigation is open, but if I go and look at the claim, it says the investigation was canceled. What the hell? And the person on the email was like, the investigation is pending. I'm like, why the fuck does it say it's canceled? But that's okay because yesterday evening, Apple sent me an email basically hey, we noticed UPS fucked up. We're going to send you another phone.
Really?
Yeah.
Apple monitors that, huh?
Apparently, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was the twist I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
in this story.
Yeah, I didn't have.
I thought for sure you were going to tell me like, I don't know where my package is, and I'll get it one of these days. I did not expect Apple to have sort of the presence of mind to like react to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Granted, it's not going to come for a couple of weeks, so it's not going to be until like November that I get it. But I was just happy that I didn't have to like reach out. They were just like, yeah. We're going to go ahead and send you another one.
Ugh. I feel like you're not the only person that I've seen with this problem.
Yeah, my gut tells me that it was stolen by somebody at UPS. I mean, those individuals have to know what a Apple iPhone box looks like at this point.
Where it's coming from.
Exactly. Yeah, it has like AI on the return label, and it's about yay big. Yeah, that's my guess, and I sure hope that Apple was also aware of that and decided to like, hey, let's just brick that other phone. But who knows what they did? Yeah, but
it's so interesting that Apple sort of has I mean, I'm sure it's an algorithm, right? I'm sure that there's some sort of machine learning function that they just run through that like flags this order as, hey, we should probably send an email.
Yeah.
Which kudos, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Being able to do that and be proactive, saving you a phone call and an email and rigmarole with UPS. Because, I mean, I've lost packages with UPS before. It sucks.
They suck. They're so bad.
They suck. They just don't let you talk to a human.
They don't.
There was like one time UPS came through for me. I had ordered a bunch of computer parts online. This was years ago. This was like early aughts. And I'm an impulsive guy. When I want something, I want it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I ordered the things, and I was so poor at the time that I was able to afford the computer parts, but like the extra $20 for overnight, I couldn't.
Oh yeah.
So it was like on its way, and I was watching the tracking status like a hawk, and I had seen that it had arrived at the Columbus sorting facility, and I actually worked like a half a mile from that place on the west side of town. And I had somehow magically gotten through to somebody at UPS saying, hey, I lied. I'm not going to be home for delivery. Would it be possible for me to come by the distribution center and pick this up? And like, I had like the magic person. It's like, yeah, we'll go find it. Pull it off. It. Yeah. And they went into their warehouse. It hadn't been loaded on a truck because it was like the end of the day. It was like late in the day. It was like 5:00. It wasn't going to get loaded onto a truck for the next morning. So it was like in some staging area where they were to get me the whole box. And that was like the one time UPS came through for me. Now, granted, they're way better than like DHL, FedEx, and USPS, but they're still kind of shitty.
Yeah, I mean, I was not pleased with the customer service I got.
Now,
but
what are the odds of this still showing up?
I'm gonna guess absolutely zero. Let's see. Hold on. I can find I bet you it still says under investigation. Hold on. Let's see if I can find the tracking number. Sure can. Yeah. Information not available. An investigation has been opened up for your lost package, which is bullshit because if I go into the claim portal, I see my claim and it says investigation canceled. So they don't.
Wow.
They
How
don't.
high does this go, Paul? How high does it go? Everybody's involved.
Yeah, they don't care. It's fine.
Weird that Jennifer's didn't get intercepted though.
Yeah, hers showed up.
And the kids too.
Yeah, the kids before, and her showed up on Tuesday. So yeah.
Well, we're inching closer to rectifying our iPhone situation here.
Okay.
I told my lady friend that like she's got to tell me what color she wants because she waffled. Just like we all do. I thought I would have had money on the fact that she would have wanted blue. Blue is her favorite color. But she saw purple somewhere and she's like, oh, I might want purple. So she was out and about today and I said, hey, if you get a chance, like duck into a Target or wherever you shop and see if they have iPhones and tell me the color you like. And she went and saw it. She really likes the iPhone 14 Pro purple. But the regular 14, she likes the blue. She said
Okay.
the purple on the regular 14 isn't great.
Yeah, so my wife got the uh 14 Pro Max in the deep purple, and I still think it's the best color.
Yes, agree.
But it's not as it often looks gray depending on the lighting and the angle you're looking at it. It's
Uh
like
huh.
just like come on Apple, just like lean into it. Like make the colors more vibrant on the pros. Pros deserve color too. Uh but
Yeah. The purple on the Pro is, I think, the prettier of the two. I'm trying to see if I can find a picture. I saw a picture that really did it justice the other day, but I can't find it again. I hate the internet. I hate it so much. i14 Pro, purple. No, not the Pro. No, i14. Oh my god, I don't know. Anyway, she's gonna get blue, so
okay.
I mean, I don't really care what color I get because I mean, we're gonna get two 14s, one to replace my work line, one to replace her, one to replace her phone because they're both XRs. I think they're both iPhone XRs, so they're a little
Okay.
bit old.
Yeah, those
And then
yeah.
I will buy one to replace my iPhone 14 or
Nice.
no, iPhone 12. Mine's still an iPhone 12. I don't even have a 13. Here's the thing. Here's the thing that stuck in my craw though. I went on AT&T's website to see what the upgrade options were, and
Mm-hmm.
because AT&T will let you do a trade-in too.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't understand. Why does AT&T insist on coming out with like a new cell phone plan every 30 days? Because it's like, you're clicking through their interface and it's like, here's what your price is, but if you switch to this plan, and I couldn't tell you what's different about this plan other than it costs more money.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's an obvious upsell opportunity because I pay to have me and my wife's phone on like one plan, and then adding a line for my work phone is another. However, they itemize that on my bill, I don't even know. It's 3 lines, and I get charged X dollars. But this new one, everybody gets their own unlimited plan. It's not a mobile share, even though we have unlimited. So I don't really care if we're sharing it. Like, I the whole concept of SKUs for cell phone plans just baffles the fuck out of me.
Yeah, and there was that
And
period of time where like when they rolled out 5G, it was only on their new plans. Like if you had an old plan that you were holding on to, you didn't get 5G. Period.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I remember back in the day when we still paid per text message. Like
Yeah, exactly.
I was very cognizant of my cell phone plan and the number of texts I sent.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know that's not a thing anymore, and I'm glad that it's that way, but I just feel like what is so fundamentally different about these cell phone plans that they keep releasing new ones and charging us more for it? You're right. Maybe it's a 5G thing. I certainly didn't see the letters 5 and G anywhere on this thing. I just think they're trying to get me onto a higher per line price plan, when if they had just been a little more truthful about it and be like, hey, instead of charging you $0 and putting you on this more expensive plan, how about we just charge you the extra $12 for your phone? I would have
Yeah.
appreciated the honesty and the hustle a little bit more, other than trying to hide the fact that you're just going to charge me more per month for my cell phone plan indefinitely. By the way, it's not
Mm-hmm.
like that's ever going
Yeah,
to go away.
exactly.
It's just so scummy. And like, if I had my druthers and money, I would start a cell phone company. It'd be like, there's one plan. Here's your cost. You get everything. Good night. Like, we're never going to change this. This is what it costs. Man, ugh, it's so scummy. Well, buddy, I'm sorry that you had that happen.
That's all right.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I know we like our toys.
Yeah.
We want to have them when we
Yeah.
want them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you think Apple will like expedite it or anything? Or
No, they are definitely not expediting it. Yeah. No. I mean, I could probably hop on the chat and complain and try to get it earlier, but at this point, I'm just like, you know what? Apple already went above and beyond and recognized the situation and proactively is like, we got you, buddy. We're sending you a new phone.
That's cool.
I'm just gonna be like, yeah, that's okay, that's great. And I'll just wait for it. So
Cool.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I'm anxiously anticipating your thoughts on it because
Yeah.
neither of us are living on Dynamic Island yet.
yeah, my wife finally set her phone up today, so I saw it. I got to play with it for just a little bit, and it looks cool so far. But
Hey, by the way,
Mhm.
I know that neither you and I are on Dynamic Island yet.
mhm.
Uh, and we're both huge fans of Apollo. Have you
Mhm.
seen the home screen pet widgets that Apollo has?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my god, I have the little dog. He's asleep on my home screen right now. It's so cute.
I'm not gonna give one of my precious widget slots over to something as frivolous as that, but I do appreciate it. Apparently I saw on the Reddit that he's gonna make that into its own app. So uh,
I'd buy it.
yeah,
I throw him a buck or two for that.
yeah, absolutely.
I love my little guy on the home screen. Right
Yeah.
now, he's just kind of laying down. He's splooting and he's got little Z's next to him. It's adorable. All right, moving on then. Want to come back and talk about my 4090 and sort of where we're at.
Yeah. So when we left with it, you were have some problems during boot up.
Yeah. So, all right. Go back and listen to the last episode. I'm not going to rehash all of this, but suffice to say, there's some early adoption issues that I'm being touched by.
Okay.
So when we last talked, I had gone through my troubleshooting and I had gotten it to what I thought was a stable state, and it was still giving me fits. Like it would still boot up, I would still get no display. There would be certain games that I would launch, and honestly, they're not even games that I think are as intense as games as like Cyberpunk. But I would go into these random reboots. Occasionally, Windows would kind of forget what kind of graphics card that was.
Ooh.
And I was having all kinds of problems. And I was extremely close to packing. I mean, the whole thing went back in the box. The whole thing went back in the box. And I was like, nah. Like, there was a point, because we recorded last Thursday. I fiddled with it after work on Friday, and I just wanted to play a game. So like I opened it up, I threw my 3090 back in it. I put it back in the box and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just wait and see, and I'm going to contact Asus support, and I'm just going to see what's going to happen here. Do they want me to RMA it, or is there fundamentally something wrong with my motherboard or my power supply? Like there were so many different X factors that it could be. But again, it really felt to me like this was some weird driver issue.
Yeah.
So the weekend came and went, and I had gone, like, I actually did a thing that I don't normally do, but I went on the Nvidia official driver feedback form, and I filled out all the information. I contacted Asus support and went back and forth with them on email a little bit.
Oh.
They sent me like this ponderous document that I had to physically inventory my PC because they were trying to recreate the issue.
Oh, wow.
So I actually contacted customer support for this stuff because listen, it's been my general experience that when I run into hardware issues like this, the chances of you getting something slipping through the channel that is fundamentally broken, it's not zero, but it's pretty low. A lot of times you can chalk up something like not working correctly due to some system incompatibility or a BIOS thing or a driver conflict. Like there's always something that you could uncover to make it work. And I wasn't really ready to accept the fact that I had a fundamentally broken graphics card.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through this because, listen, this is new tech. Literally, the driver that supported this thing launched last week. So, like, of course there could be problems, right? And I went on, like, different forums that I know that people were really good about giving advice about. And what I started to see, a pattern was starting to emerge. So by the time I had, like, done some research over the weekend and looked at it on Monday, there was a pattern emerging where there were some people that were having like reboot loops or no display on startup, and it just
sounds familiar.
It seemed like I wasn't alone. But first of all, I love some of these hardware forums because you can put in your profile like what your computer build is. So it's really easy to like see a forum post where it's like 4090 no display, and I can click on the user and I can like quickly see what their hardware inventory is. And I can compare notes, right? And that's good and bad because it's good because you're able to sort of cross compare what you have versus what they have. But at the same time, I really wasn't seeing any corollaries. The only really thing that I saw is that some people with the same chipset that I had, not necessarily the same motherboard, but the same chipset that I had, were also having problems. So, I was reading different forums and everything, and apparently somebody found on some Chinese language forum that they went into their Nvidia control panel, and there's a setting in there for power management, and it has two settings. It has like here, I can actually look at it right now. Like if you go into that control panel and you look at it, there's a setting in there called power management mode. And it has two settings. It has normal and then prefer maximum performance. Well, what does that mean? Well, I mean, this is a huge.
I don't know. What
yeah.
is it?
So, long story short, it's power management for the card. Okay. And if you're idling around in Windows, you're not using anything with 3D acceleration. It goes into a power saving mode, right? It just kind of sips power and just powers your monitors and doesn't really do anything. And it sort of clicks back on, for lack of a better term, not clicks on, but draws more power as it's needed to sort of run games, or if you're doing like, pretty much everything has hardware accelerations. Like fucking Slack has hardware acceleration, like whatever, right? Like
right.
Everything sort of uses it, so whatever. But what they found is that setting that to prefer maximum performance solved a lot of their problems. So I was like, okay, you know what? That's a reasonable thing. It's driver related. Turns out Nvidia, like there's actual people from Nvidia that browse that forum, because shortly after I found that post, my support, the person who does the driver contact at Nvidia sent me an email like, hey, check out this post.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, you know what? That's good enough for me. So I got the 4090 back out of the box. I put it back in my computer. Well, before I did that, I set the setting in the control panel while I had the 3090 plug in, thinking that it would retain that. And it did. So I plugged it in, booted right up, no problem. Launched the games that were causing reboots, no more reboots.
Nice.
I still get no display sometimes when I power on the computer. But my system stability is much better. Like I'm not getting crazy crashes or reboots or anything like that. So there's obviously something to that, right? There's some weird interconnect here where like the power management of my chipset plus the power management of this card multiplied by this driver are causing something to happen.
Right.
Nvidia has sort of like tepidly acknowledged it, but I mean, their software releases, their driver releases go through sprints, I'm sure. So they've gotten the feedback. If we will see a fix or an acknowledgement of this, who knows? I don't like running this at maximum power because I typically leave my computer on a lot. So I've been a little more cognizant of shutting down my computer, so my graphics card isn't just sitting there running all the time at maximum performance, even though it's not doing anything. Not that I think it's going to damage anything, but it's just being a little more power conscious, because for two people, our power bill is already ridiculous.
Yeah.
So like to me, the problem is sort of half solved, and it's to the point now where my system is stable-ish, except for the no display from time to time, but it seems to be working. I did have a weird thing happen just yesterday where I powered it on, and I had like a very weird display thing happen, but I just think that was a flavor of the no display issue.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that it's better for you.
Yeah, it's better-ish. I'm still waiting on some responses from Asus. And the other thing too is like, even getting a BIOS update for something like this is a little bit of a challenge right now, because Intel just launched their newest generation of their 13th gen processors. And all the BIOS updates sort of dropped last week, where, Z690, which is what I have, can support the 13 series, and they released a BIOS update, but the only thing in the notes is like support 13 gen processor, right? There's nothing in there about 4090s. However, there were some 670 chipset BIOS updates last week that specifically called out improved compatibility with 4090s. So, like, again, could there be something down the line where Asus releases a BIOS update for my particular motherboard and acknowledges that this is a compatibility thing? Or is Nvidia going to say, yep, we screwed up. Here's how to fix this to deal with this particular thing? I have no idea. But for now, things are more stable-ish. So money well spent.
Money well spent.
Money well spent. But oh my god, it's so good though.
Is it?
It's so fucking good. So, Modern Warfare 2 comes out officially next Friday.
Okay.
Uh, I pre-ordered the game,
Mm-hmm.
and the uh, the campaign is in early access. So for people who pre-ordered the game, you can play the single player campaign right now.
Okay.
And I started playing it yesterday, and I have it completely cranked at 4K. Holy shit, it's so good. I'm getting well above 120 frames in that
Wow.
game. Yeah, oh my god, it's so good. Now here's the other thing too, right? Now that I actually feel like I can push this card a little bit harder, I was worried about heat, I was worried about noise.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of those things are a problem.
Really?
My graphics card, like I can actually see like Modern Warfare is pretty interesting because it can show you telemetry on your screen, like frames per second, network
Mm-hmm.
packet loss, ping. It can show you GPU temperature, GPU time. Like it can actually show you some telemetry on your screen as you're playing. And I have it showing FPS right now and GPU temperature, and I don't think I've gotten it to go above 68.
Wow.
Yeah, the cooling on this thing is so massive, and the fans are so good. It's actually quieter than when I had my 3090. It is so much better at dumping that heat. It's actually pretty. I'm actually very impressed, given that this isn't a liquid cooled card, and it's able to play a game like that at 4K with that level of performance and that level of detail, and not sound like a turbine.
Hmm.
It's really really good, and the performance is just outstandingly solid. So I mean, I think Nvidia's made a hell of a thing here. Obviously, I want my issues to completely to go away, but even then, holy shit, dude, it's so good. By the way, Modern Warfare campaign is fucking a blast. Oh, it's so good. So just the story's stupid. Like they're never gonna win any awards for storytelling or writing. But what they're so good at, man, is just the different set pieces that you fight in.
Mm.
It's so good. It's so good. I mean, the only thing I don't like is they've gotten to a point where that game where they're really good at doing the shooty parts.
Okay.
But
Yep.
but they love to add a few different things to like break up the shooty parts. And if it was like oops all shooty parts, I'd be fine. But
Okay.
but
Okay.
like there's places where it's like, oh, you're going to control a drone now, or you're going to control a turret on an airplane now. Okay, we've done that before. They had like this weird like puzzle section where like you needed to use security cameras to help this guy sneak around, and it's like it goes on just a little too long. I just want to get back to the shooty parts. Okay, I get it, Infinity Ward. You're mixing it up. You're disrupting the shooty bits. Okay. But like, just let me get back to the shooty bits because the shooty bits are really freaking good. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to multiplayer launch next Friday. I actually took next Friday off.
Nice.
I'm
Nice.
40. I am 42 years old.
You know, the funny thing is I was strongly considering God of War Ragnarok comes out on Wednesday, November 9th. And I was like, I should just take like that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off and play a
I
video
was reading
game.
some of the impressions to that. It looks like it's going to be good.
Yeah. It's always a good sign, I think, when like they announce that like the review embargo is going to be like a week before the game comes out.
Because they know it's
They
going to
know.
be good.
They know.
Just know
They
it's
know.
going to be good.
They know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you played the last one, obviously.
I did. Yes.
And it was great, right?
It was great. It was great.
I think it's available for the PC now, right?
It is. Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
wonder
I
how
got
much
it.
it's going for now.
I got it for my son when it came out. He liked it as well.
$49.99. That's not bad.
Nope, you should buy that. It's good.
Maybe I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I have other things to keep me company right now. But it's on my list. And they just released a whole bunch of Uncharted games too.
Yeah,
PC.
I'm not a big fan of those, but
Really?
yeah, it's just yeah. I played some. I haven't played all of them, but I've played like a lot of the PS3 and the early PS4 ones, and it's fine. It's fine. It's just not my thing.
So there's
yeah.
the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves,
Mhm.
which is Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Uncharted The Lost Legacy. What's The Lost Legacy?
I think that was like a shorter, like not quite like bigger than a DLC, but smaller. I don't know. I haven't kept track of them. Again, meh.
I had the first Uncharted on PS3 and I
Yeah,
loved it.
yeah,
It was a good game. I never played any of the other ones though.
yeah.
But
I
they're
mean,
not your thing, right?
I mean, I like Naughty Dog's other thing they do, The Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Yeah. So
Which I think I'm actually looking at this. This is interesting. I didn't know this was here. They have brought Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, Days Gone, God of War, Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, and Uncharted Legacy of Thieves. So they're starting to bring more of these PlayStation games to
they are.
the
Yep.
PC, which is nice.
Yeah. I think the strategy is that when they're new, they're going to be PS5 exclusives. I guess technically Ragnarok is also for the PS4. And then, give it a few years and then they, put it out on PC, which I think is a perfectly fine strategy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so speaking of video cards, I need you to explain something to me.
Yep.
Because I saw this go by, and I'm confused. Nvidia unlaunched a card.
Yeah. So this is wild. Again, we've talked about this a little bit, so I'm going to skip ahead. Go back and listen to last episode if you're curious. So, Nvidia launched the 4090 last week, and the 4080, which will be sort of a scaled down version of the 4090. So bigger numbers are always better. So the 4080 is going to be a lower price point, slightly lower performing card.
Okay.
In the previous generation, you had the 3090, and you had the 3080, the 3070, and the 3060. So when Nvidia unveiled the new 40 series cards, they said 4090 comes first, and then we're going to be launching the 4080s at a later date. And what they said was, we're going to launch two different 4080s, which when I first saw that, I cringed, and most of the internet cringed, because that's immediately going to lead to some confusion. Because if you're coming from a previous generation, 80 is less than 90, but now they're muddying the waters a little bit by making two different 4080s, one that is drastically better than the others.
Okay.
So what it was is the 4080 was going to launch as two different SKUs. It was going to be a 4080 with 16 gigs of memory on board and a 4080 with 12 gigs on board. Nvidia, which does whatever the fuck they want, right? Which we'll talk more about that when we talk about the EVGA stuff. But they will do whatever the fuck they want because they're the current market leaders. They do all kinds of cool shit. They make money hand over fist. They're going to do whatever the fuck they want. They didn't listen, but universally they were sort of panned for this because it's going to lead to a lot of consumer confusion. And it's difficult for even game developers and game publishing studios who want to recommend a certain video card. Like if a 4080 would do it, they would have to really specify, like, a 4080 will get you high settings if you have the 4080 16 gig versus the 4080 12 gig. It was going to lead to a whole shit show. So what Nvidia did is they basically said, maybe everyone else was right. So what they're doing is they're officially unlaunching this card. And that's not the same as canceling it. Okay. This is where it gets wild.
Okay. So people have been making this card, right?
Yes. People have not only made this card, it's a card that is sitting in boxes ready to be shipped.
Oh no.
So apparently, and again, this stuff is so opaque to the consumer that we don't really know because of the way that Nvidia has these agreements with the different partners that make the cards. We will probably never know to the extent of what Nvidia had to do to convince them to, like, hey, please don't mail those, right? Like, please don't put those on a boat. What I read a few different places,
all the packaging and I'm sure the 4080 logo on the card itself. Are they going to put stickers over that or?
So on the boxes, they're going to reuse the boxes, thankfully.
Okay.
And they're going to put stickers on the boxes.
Okay.
But they basically said, please don't launch this card. I don't know what they're going to do. What they speculate they're going to do is they're basically going to say, hey, if you manufactured these 4080 12 gigs, just rebrand it as a 4070 when we announce it.
Okay.
So the 4080 12 gigs will probably, like, those cards, rather than just them like wasting that silicon and all that sand and whatever, they will probably ship them with some, if the 4070 is designed to run at a certain clock speed, they will probably like gimp these cards to run at whatever the 4070 is going to be when the 4070 is officially a thing. That's the current rumor. And apparently Nvidia has also compensated some of these partners for their fab and their
Yeah,
process
I'd
and
hope
like their
so.
their
Yeah.
emotional hardship. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, we won't really know, because that's one of those things that is, Nvidia, I'm sure, has like ironclad agreements with these people to never say anything about it, or God forbid you're not a partner anymore and can make these things. Um
Wow, that's
yeah,
crazy. That's
it is.
crazy.
It is. Um Actually unlaunching it, not canceling it, but unlaunching it, making
Mhm.
it basically memory hold. It's crazy that they would do that.
Yeah.
Um, but you know what though? I think it's the right move. I think it's the right move because,
Yeah.
again, like I would hate to be in a position, especially if you're a person who maybe, you really want one of these for Christmas, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
you're like, you go out of your way to tell your parents or your significant other or your loved ones or whatever, like, hey, this is what I really want for Christmas. It's expensive, and this is the one I want, and then they get you the one and it's not the exact one, and it's like
Mhm.
you can't really be mad because maybe they don't buy hardware, and how would they know? It was a really confusing thing for Nvidia to do. So it's the right move, but it's just really bizarre. Super super bizarre.
Mhm. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Well,
Huh.
almost as nuts.
Yeah.
Speaking of more, I
Yeah.
mean, this is the big video card episode
Yeah,
apparently.
apparently.
So a couple weeks ago, EVGA decided to call it
Mhm.
quits on making video cards. And this
That's
is
okay.
it's really big news, by the
Okay.
way. Um
So like what like okay, so do they make other things besides video cards?
yeah, so for those of you that
Okay.
don't know, like, EVGA is a company that has been around for a very long time. I have owned several EVGA products at
Mhm.
various points in my life. For instance, like the power supply in my computer right now is made by EVGA. I have owned other EVGA stuff. I've owned EVGA video cards before. They've been
Okay.
at it a very long time. And they're a great company. In fact, the only ever time I ever had to RMA a card, it was when I owned an EVGA card. And uh, unlike UPS, like, you call them up, you get a human on the line. I explain what the problem was. By the end of the conversation, like, she gave me a tracking number of a card that was going to be coming to me, and then I just had to mail back my other one.
Hmm.
I had to do like $100 deposit, basically, to
Okay.
cover the shipping that they would reimburse me when they got my broken card back. They still are. I'm using the word were. They still are a fantastic company. I'm a big fan of all the stuff that they continue to make, and other than video cards, I think that they're pretty much best known for power supplies. They make really good. They make
Mhm.
really good. Oh wow, their website's not working. That's cool. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, they make power supplies. They also make like gaming keyboards and mice. Um, they have a few motherboards that they also make. I've never used one of their motherboards, but I've used a lot of their power supplies. They were also really interesting because my 2080, I think it was, is what it was. I can't remember. I had a 2080, and they made aftermarket parts for their own cards to turn it into a hybrid cooler machine.
Hmm.
I don't know. They're just a good company. But they came out and they announced that they are ending their partnership with Nvidia, which is a big deal because a huge part of their business was making graphics cards.
Right, right.
And people like me were really sad to hear this. And they released this whole statement sort of explaining the rationale behind it. And again, it's one of those things that if you've ever read about how tightly, how by the balls, really, that NVIDIA has their partners, and how they're supposed to market their cards, and how they won't even know what they're supposed to charge for these cards until NVIDIA tells them, like, the day of launch. Like, there's all sorts of controls and stipulations. And what EVGA basically said was, look, we basically have to compete with the company that we're licensing the technology from.
Right.
Right. Because
they make their own cards. Yeah.
they make their own cards, right? You can buy a quote unquote founders edition, which is like, built to the exact spec that Nvidia wants you to buy it from.
Mm-hmm.
And these partners basically have to make their card and either price it at a different price point than the founders edition, or give you more for your money, quote unquote, because I'm not sure the extra $400 I paid for my card is worth it. But at the same time, like, that's what they have to do. Now, traditionally, I always went for the AIB. They call them the what does that stand for? What is AIB? Add-in board. Basically these other companies that would make them. I would usually flock to them because, one, a lot of times, places around me that sold computer parts don't sell the founders cards. They have in the past. Like Micro Center used to be able to buy founders cards at Micro Center way back in the day. Mm-hmm. That's where I bought my Titan from. But the only place you could buy founders cards today are from Best Buy. Like, that is the sole exclusive retailer. So, you have to like buy online, which kind of sucks. So I had a proclivity to always buy something like an EVGA or Asus or whatever, because it was just the easier route to go. But what EVGA is saying is, like, look, we're tired of competing against the company that we're trying to like license the technology from to make these things. We're at a point now where like we're actually losing money on the cards we produce, and
that's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good write-ups and stuff out there, but I know personally, like, I was really sad about this because I always thought EVGA made really good stuff. I mean, and again, they still do. Like, their power supplies are still really good, but like, graphics cards were a significant part of their business. So now they're going to have to rely on power supplies and like everything else. And like, as much as I like EVGA, I have like no desire to buy their keyboard or mice.
Right.
They also make a case. What is this? That's an ugly ass case, EVGA. Gaming chassis. Access denied. You've been blocked from this website because the system has detected too many requests. What? Go home, EVGA. You're drunk. But I can click on their keyboard. I don't know.
The E1 frame. Okay, I'm gonna look at this thing now. Ooh. Oh. It looks like.
Is it like an open air chassis?
Yeah.
That's a choice.
And it's really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap.
Yeah, but they're gonna be expanding their lines of business. They're gonna be coming out with some new closed loop coolers, like some CPU coolers and things like that. I really hope that the company stays afloat. I think it'll be hard for them without their graphics card business, because that was such a huge part of what they did. I'm sure their power supply division will be fine. I would hate to see EVGA go completely under. I think there's a lot of speculation that the people who run VGA are sort of ready to retire and kind of want to get out of the business. And this is sort of the first step in that direction, which again would be really sad. It would be a big end of an era for them to do that. But to their credit, like, EVGA is like, a lot of people were panicking who had just bought EVGA graphics cards when they said this, like, what's going to happen to our warranties and what are we supposed to do? And EVGA is like, look, we have plenty of stock. Like, we'll honor your warranties. It won't be a big deal. Like, we'll have some on hand to deal with service and parts and things like that. So it's like, we're not going away. It's just that we're not gonna continue to produce the new thing. So like, there is no EVGA 4090 series right now for you to buy.
Right.
So yeah, just really sad. I mean, but again, like, the companies that are still in the game, like, you have to wonder how much money does it cost them to stay in this ecosystem. And no one has come out and said that EVGA won't just make a different kind of graphics cards. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Right? Like, maybe they turn around and become a partner for
AMD.
No one has said that is happening, but no one has said that is not happening. So, I think it'll be interesting to see if they do that. Again, AMD has a really big launch coming up with their next generation of graphics cards to keep pace with Nvidia. The rumors are it's going to be pretty revolutionary, and it's going to be one of those things where they're going to try to shift that paradigm away from more sand, more watts. So
right.
It'll be interesting to see. And if EVGA does decide to go that route, I think that would be a pretty stunning reversal, honestly, because I don't think EVGA has ever made AMD or ATI before it was AMD, but like ATI parts. Because I've been around long enough to know that AMD is really ATI.
Yeah, I remember because they bought that whole business, right?
Yeah, AMD bought them.
Yeah,
AMD bought them. But yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating story. We'll put some links in show notes if that kind of shit interests you. But I mean, it's hard not to pour one out for this because, like I said, I always enjoyed owning EVGA stuff, and again, I still do. I don't know why I'm speaking of this like in the past tense because I still own, like, I have a 1,000-watt EVGA power supply here, and it's great. It's great. I love it. But yeah, it was really interesting. I mean, I'm sure that you probably watched. Oh, there was also a great Gamers Nexus. I think, again, giving a shout out to those guys because I just really like the way they cover that stuff. I'll put a link in the show notes to. Where is that? Gamers Nexus EVGA. Yeah, cites disrespectful treatment of all things.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't seen that, I think that's probably the best summary that you're going to get. I don't want to turn this into like a React podcast, but go watch that. It's fine. It's good. It's a good write up.
Cool.
Last thing I wanted to talk to you about this week. I had no idea this was a thing. Paul, what is a DualSense Edge wireless controller?
The DualSense Edge wireless controller is a new PS5 controller that Sony has. Actually, I think they actually announced it a couple of months ago, but recently gave a lot more details and price and dates for this sucker. I definitely think it's kind of in the same vein as what the Xbox Pro, Xbox Elite, is that what it's called? The fancy one. Yeah, the Elite controller. I think that's the space it is trying to play in. It's got some interesting features. I think the two biggest ones, the thumbsticks are easily replaceable, and it's got back paddle buttons that you can like program and decide what button you actually want those to be. It looks cool, I guess. It's got some other features, but those two really are the big ones. It's expensive. I think it's what, like, I should have known.
I want to say it was like $159 or something.
Oh, it's more than that.
Is it?
I think so.
Again, this was just something.
It is $200.
Yeah, this was something that just sort of showed up on some random web page that I saw. And again, I'm completely out of the PlayStation ecosystem, so I just wanted to talk to you about it. So, I mean, look, you're Captain PlayStation.
It is half the cost of a PS5 digital edition. I just want to point that out. Half.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that you would even consider buying?
I'm gonna pre-order one. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Now, why? Like, why?
I want to try the back buttons, and
they're awesome. I love it. I love when I first got my hands on that for the Xbox controller.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. It's really cool to have that there. Like, it's faster. It is legit faster.
Yeah. Well, like, because on a controller, right? Like, if you're playing like a first-person shooter, right? Like, generally your thumbs are on the sticks to move and you're using the trigger to fire, but usually something like reload or jump, you have to move your thumb off of the thumbstick to the face buttons. This allows you to not have to do that. I did back in the day, PlayStation sold this little dingus that you plugged into a regular PS4 controller, and it added buttons, but it was just so bulky that I found it difficult to hold, and it wasn't comfortable. But this is, this doesn't have that. It's part of the controller. So that's what I'm really excited about, is to give those a try. And yeah.
I'm looking at pictures of it here, and it looks like you can get the regular smooth little thumbsticks, or you can get like the indented and ribbed for your pleasure
Yeah, it comes. Yeah,
one.
yeah, it comes with yeah, different caps for the thumbsticks, and then you know it's got controllable dead zones, so you can adjust how much slop you want into
Ooh,
your
look at that carrying case.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it comes with the carrying case. You can charge it while it's in the case, which I think is a nice little touch. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the case has a battery pack in it?
I think it's got like a
Question mark?
USB port on the back. And like
Oh,
when you put the when you put the controller in there, it kind of
yes.
snaps through and connects, and yeah.
You can even
Mm.
charge the controller via USB connection while it's stored in the case to make sure you're always ready
Mm.
for the next play session.
Mm-hmm. And it's still compatible with the existing DualSense charging station,
Yeah,
which I have two of already.
of course you
So
do.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
man. By the
Mm-hmm.
way, braided cables are my fucking jam.
Yeah, I love it. Mm-hmm.
Braided cables are so fucking good.
Yeah.
Literally every cable on my desk. Yeah, every cable on my desk is braided. Holy shit, achievement unlocked. Like I thought for sure I'd have like some shitty mouse cable. Nope, the mouse cable is braided. The mouse cable is braided. My headphone cable is braided. My keyboard is super braided and thick. The USB charger thing that goes to my little phone stand that you got me for Christmas last year, that's
Oh.
braided. Yeah, and then my Stream Deck. My Stream Deck is also braided. My DisplayPort cables are braided. Holy fuck. What happened?
You did it. You're
Yeah,
living the
I did
best
it,
life.
man.
Yeah.
Fuck, I did it. I
Oh,
made it.
congratulations.
Yeah. Man, that's so cool.
Mm.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
So when does this officially launch again?
I think it goes
January.
on sale. It comes out in January. You can order it on the 25th. So
All right,
Tuesday.
and you're doing it.
I'm gonna order one. Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I wish they had more color options than white. But what the hell? I'm gonna buy one. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I really like my elites. I don't think they're quite as expensive at that, but
Oh, they're not. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but to be fair, these controllers do a hell of a lot more. You got like
Yeah.
a touch screen on there. What does that
Mhm.
even do, by the way?
So so uh in reality, surprisingly little.
Yeah, yeah.
In reality, it's generally just a button you can mash on to open up a menu or something. It is touch sensitive, so like, if a game wants to build in touch controls or have like some games do, like if you push the button, it brings up like the map. If you swipe up, it brings like the inventory. Like it's a kind of like a shortcut into certain menus. But that's not extremely common. Basically, it's a big black button you can push.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. But
Man.
yeah. But it makes it cost more. So there you go.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. But it
Mm-hmm.
also has the sensitive feedback thing for the buttons and everything.
Yeah. All the haptic triggers, and
Yeah.
I guess it's got what do they call it? You can adjust how much like force it takes to pull down the trigger, like when it activates. So that's adjustable now on these. Yeah.
One thing that I always thought was interesting that is I always felt like DualShock controllers, at least PlayStation 4, because that was the last one I held. I always felt like they were pretty light. Are these heavier now?
They're heavier than the DualShock 4. Yeah, for sure.
Because
They're,
like one of the
bigger and
things,
heavier. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we could get into a fist fight over like where the proper placement of the thumbsticks are. But one of the things I really like about the Xbox controller is the heft. Like the Elite controller I'm holding in my hands right now, it's just heavy. And I know that's a weird thing to say because obviously you don't want to be like fatigued like holding your
Right.
controller, but it's just the right heft. And
Yeah.
I always felt like the DualShocks were very light and just didn't feel like they had any chunk to them.
Well, I also like the DualShock 4s were notorious for having absolutely shit battery life.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully PlayStation doesn't do what Xbox does and like allow your controllers to be run on AA batteries. Like that's gross. Like
Mhm.
just give me a rechargeable battery that's in there all the time.
Yep.
So the DualSense 5, they last a lot longer. So I think there's extra battery there. And of course, like all of the motors, because like each trigger basically has a little motor on it to provide the feedback and pushback. So yeah, they're heavier than the fours, but they're not. It's got, it's very ergonomic, and it's, I don't, I like them. They're good. They're good controllers. Very
Cool,
good
buddy.
controllers.
Well, I'm glad you're gonna get one. I would love to hear more.
Yeah.
Come January when you get it. So.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've geeked out for a while here on
did.
video cards and
We
video
did.
games and everything. One last thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen this new Warhammer 40K Dark Tide game that's coming out?
I have not.
So they had an open beta last weekend.
Okay.
It's really good.
Is it?
It's really good. Oh my god. I don't even know that much about Warhammer, and I was totally sucked in. It's a very Left 4 Dead style game.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good, man. It's really freaking good.
Oh, it's not on PlayStation. That's why I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. I mean, it might be. I don't
Probably
know.
at some point.
I think it's.
yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be launching on. Quite frankly, I know it's going to be launching on PC, but boy, it's good.
Xbox and Windows. Yeah.
Oh, that's the way that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind then.
Oh.
All right. Well, let's wrap this one up, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. You can find us on the internet, doingtheirbest.com. The new website's going to be up as soon as I have time. We're on Twitter at doingbestpod. I'm on Twitter at Paul Baylor. And where can we find you, Drew?
I'm on Twitter at Pitferg, P-A-T-T-F-U-R-G.
All right. Until next time.